Hello, friends, and welcome back to another session of my Go Live. My name is Femi, and I'm an engineer. I worked in the oil and gas industry for several years as a directional driller. Originally from Nigeria, I live in Ontario, Canada, and I help busy, hardworking professionals and immigrants build a sustainable digital business that brings about flexibility and desired work-life balance that aligns with their lifestyle and long-term goals. So, in our last session, but before I go to that, I just want to admonish you. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to those of you that are joining me live, or that will be joining me live, and then a big thank you also to those people that are going to be taking their time to watch the replay. Please kindly leave on the comment section in the comment section where you are watching from, and then if you have any question or if you have any opinion, you can just share it on the like on the comment section. That would be very well appreciated. So in our last session, I talked about how automation and mentorship simplified the digital business journey. But today we'll be talking about something many of us dream of, which is time freedom. This wasn't what I planned to be talking about today, though, because initially uh, I was scheduled to be discussing another business partner's journey in the oil. Sorry, not in the oil, in the digital business space so far. Her name is Kathy, but for some reason, unfortunately, she won't be she won't be with us today. She just sent me a message this morning that she won't be able to make it. So please bear with me. So in place of that, I decided to talk about time freedom. But you know what? I want us to be able to go deeper than just that buzzword, um, time freedom. So what does it really mean? What does it truly mean? And how does it actually look in real life? Especially for those of us that work long hours, or those of us that are working long hours, those of us that that work many shifts, or those of us that have worked several hours and far away from family, just to make ends meet. Just like myself, I worked long days, long hours, and long days, weeks, long weeks away from family while I was working in the oil field as a directional driller, just to make ends meet. So we'll be looking at all of that this afternoon, this beautiful Thursday afternoon. So first of all, let me define, according to Google AI, what the definition of time freedom is. According to Google AI, it says that it's the ability to control how you spend your time, allowing you to work when you want to and structure your days according to your own priorities, rather than a rigid schedule. So, I mean, this is very contrary to what a lot of people may be thinking about time freedom. Time freedom doesn't mean absence of work, like some people may be thinking. It just means that you have that opportunity, you have that choice. You have the opportunity to make that choice, about when you work, who you work with, how you work, where you work, and aligning all those things with your priorities and not with someone else's priorities or schedule. That is what time freedom is all about. So like this imagination that a lot of people always have about time freedom, that it means to have lavish vacations or never having to work again, may not really be what it's all about, at least from the definition that I just gave up there now. So true time freedom for me, it means it's a choice. It means that you have the ability to have choice. I mean, ability to make a choice. Being able to decide, like I said earlier on, where and when to work, who you work with, and how you spend your day. Like imagine waking up from bed in the morning and knowing exactly, and being happy because you know that your day is planned based on your priorities and not someone else. Yes, not someone else's. Uh, like it means also that you have been present. People can't count on you. They can depend on you. Your family can count on you. They can depend on you that, okay, you'll be there for them, like in the midst of whatever it is, work or business that you are running, but like not having to be rushing out for a 12-hour shift or staying so long or maybe making promises that cannot be fulfilled. Like some of us, like it happened to some of us, like I've had promises made that I broke several times, not because I didn't want to keep my promises, but because my work didn't allow me to keep those promises. Just think about it. Having a plan with the family to go somewhere, someplace in the course of the weekend. I just use that as an example. But there's some very serious examples that I'll be sharing later, that I'll be sharing with you later as it pertains to how it affected my life. And then everybody's geared ready for that, particularly the children. And then all of a sudden, you're not available anymore to be able to make that dream come true because work calls. So that's what I mean by, people being able to rely on you, like being able to wake up with a peace of mind, knowing that your day is built around your priorities. That's what's all about. Having that flexibility, having that business that runs even when life gets busy. And so here, I mean, like, let me just use my personal journey to make this idea relatable, so that you can understand what I mean by, uh, like the need for time freedom and what time freedom is like. So, for most of us that have busy schedules and we work long hours, some of us work extra shifts or we work double jobs in order to be able to make ends meet. Some of us don't work double jobs, but because of the maybe the environment we find ourselves, right, we have to put in more. We have to put in more, and sometimes maybe because of our finances, because of our financial status, we just realize that we just need to be able to do more work in order for us to be able to make ends meet. So, like in my case, like I said, I'm an engineer earlier on from my introduction, and I said I worked in the oil and gas industry for several years. So I worked in the oil field as a directional driller. And like in my course of working in the oil field, I worked 12 hours a day, averagely. There are days I work more than 12 hours a day. And I did that with months away from home. Because like my work required the fact that I had to be in the field to start a job if possible and end it, depending on what kind of contract it is. Sometimes it could be on rotation, so that I have somebody come, like I have some kind of like regular rotation, where I go work for a certain number of weeks, maybe 6, 8 weeks, and somebody else comes to take care, I'm like to relieve me, and I'm supposed to go for that period of time while the person is there. But sometimes it doesn't really work out that way, because you may actually be taken out of that rig, for someone to relieve you, and then you are off to another rig, maybe because of shortage of hands. So these are some of the things that happened, and they were emotionally draining. So with all of this, you discover that you missed so many things, like milestones for children, family gatherings, and simple moments like like having dinner with family. You see, this is the price that one has to pay, because you like just have to provide for the family, and rightly so. People have to do whatever they have to do, but creating a balance, having the opportunity to be able to create a balance, why you don't have to be in a hurry, to leave your family to go and do a job that was not planned for you to do to start with. Or like I was talking to somebody over the weekend, And he told me that he works night shift and the wife works in the day. They work different, they work opposite times, and they have a 1 year, a 1.5 year old and a 3 year old. So it was like, I mean, and this, I mean, like this has been for several years. So it's like they never really have time, one for the other, you know. And of course, uh, I mean, a man's got to do what he's got to do, you know. So that's one of the things that happens. But like, how do you create that balance so that you know the things that matter, the things that are priorities, are the things that you're able to focus on, that you can wake up in the morning and you know that okay, I mean, you have the peace of mind that okay, I'm not just going to get a call now that I'm needed right now. I'll give a typical example. That was a year, my family and I, we had planned our Christmas, you know, to spend together. My kids were in the university then and they just come home. And on the eve of Christmas, that day we had some things that we planned to do a day after Christmas. Of course, we are going to have dinner around the table at Christmas, as every family would like to have. But that turned out not to be what happened to me and my family, because that evening, while everybody was retiring to their rooms to go and sleep for the night, there I got a call from my boss, and it was that okay, we just secured a contract, you know, like a client, I mean, like another competition, you know, was let go because they did a bad job, and the client wanted us to come on the job right away, and they wanted somebody with experience. And then I was told I needed to go to the rig the next day. Of course, I wasn't going to go to the rig next day, but I was supposed to travel out of Canada the next day, because the rig I was talking about here now, in terms, I mean, like with regards to this, was in Congo. Sorry, I mean, I think it was in Ghana. You know, so that was 2 days for me to travel. So, like, you know, this kind of disruption, I mean, like they do happen. And it's not as if you have planned for them, and it's not as if I complained when they happened. I wasn't happy, my family wasn't happy, but I knew that first of all, it was what I signed for. Secondly, I knew that okay, if my family had to feed, if I had to provide for them, these were the things that I needed to do. So so that went on. But you know, the turning point for me was when I found this digital business model that changed everything for me. Even though at first I was skeptical, but I thought, how can this work for someone like me? You know, but I was willing to learn. I was willing to learn because there was too much, you know, in what I desired for than the fear or the skepticism that was there. I needed to have that change of life. And that was how I started this business. And now, you know, I have the opportunity to be able to make a choice. When you fast forward to today, I have the opportunity to be able to make a choice. You know, I still work, but not for someone else. And it does not mean that you can't work for someone else when you are doing a business like mine, because that's part of what we do. You know, we help you build that sustainable business that is centered around your goals, your long-term goals, and is flexible enough, you know, to be able to accommodate your lifestyle, your busy schedules, and all of that. You know, so I mean, like this is the reason why you see that we have a lot of nurses within our business community, a lot of people that work in the healthcare, because sometimes a lot of them do long hours or they do multiple jobs. And then we discover that over time, you know, like after they have started this business, over time, they are able to maybe drop from two jobs to one job, you know, thus creating, you know, the kind of work-life balance that they want to have, and being able to free some time to be able to spend with their loved ones, and also being able to enjoy uh, the I mean, like um, the blessings that comes from the job that they do. So uh, now I am able to attend family events. I'm present at home. I have the opportunity, you know, to work at whatever time that I choose to and wherever I want to work from. And also my personal growth, you know, is something that uh, you know that I cannot overemphasize. You know, every time, you know, like when I talk about this business, I talk about how it has helped me to grow personally. So I'm like, these are the real rewards, not just the income, not just the income. The income is very important, which is also a good reward, but the real reward for finding something like this, is being able to create that work-life balance. Real reward for me is having that peace, having that personal growth, having to be able to make a choice, having to be able to, to wake up in the morning and be at peace with myself because I know my day is already scheduled for me, centered around my priorities and not someone else. So that's it, the flexibility and the fulfillment. So, like I haven't said all of this, it becomes obvious for us to understand that time freedom doesn't just fall from heaven like manna. You know, uh, Time freedom is something that is earned. For it to be sustainable, it has to be built. So, like most of the time, like we achieve this through the building of a business that gives us the opportunity to be able to enjoy this freedom. And that's where I come in, and most of the people within my business community come in, because that's what we do, to help start up that sustainable digital business. And last week I talked about how automation and mentoring helps, um, to make the digital business seamless. So uh, doing this, which is what we do, we are able to help people create that time freedom as a desire. So, like, it is not really as people think that, okay, my having time freedom means that, okay, I'm not able to travel. Of course, you have the time to be able to travel. You can have like luxury vacations and all that, but it's not really centered about that. It's more than that. It's something that you have to build. It's something that must be built. Time freedom doesn't just come. It's a result of decisions. It's a result of discipline. It's a result of consistency. It's a result of building a business, that works for you instead of you working endlessly for the business. Being able to build that business, being relentless, being visionary, being focused on your goal, and being able to build that business that works for you. Think about that. Not you working endlessly for the business, because by the time the automation kicks in within this business and everything seems to just be working seamlessly, you discover that you have more time on your hands to be able to do other things, and you're able to better plan your life according to those things that you consider priorities. That's I haven't used my own experience. It's not a fantasy. It's a process that begins the day you decide to take ownership of your time. And that's why I always remind people that the goal isn't to escape from work. It's not to escape work. It's to create work that gives life meaning. Some people may think, okay, work life. They think time freedom is not having to work. No, no. But the goal here, the vision here is to be able to create that job that's going to give you a meaningful life. That's the goal here. So it's something that's intentional. It's something that you plan for. It's something that you determine to do. Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. You know, um, just imagine. Um, okay, what would you do if, for instance, you had more time? Just think about it, that if you had more time to spend, what would you do? Would you travel home? For most of us that are immigrants, Would you spend more time with your family, with your kids? Would you be able to rest? Start a passionate project? Just think about it. Because you see, like, that's the first step to making it real. You can't move towards what you haven't envisioned. You have to first, picture it in your mind. What will time freedom really mean for you? So for those of us that are engaged with long hours at work or working long distance away from home, like I used to do, or working multiple shifts and not being there for the ones that we love, or working opposite shift from, one spouse working opposite shift from the other. Think about it. What will time freedom look for you? What would it look like for you? Think about it. If you have that time freedom, envision what will it be like if you have the opportunity for this to be reversed. If you have the opportunity to be able to work at the same, the same hours as your spouse, so you both go out to work at the same time, and then you go both come back. So at least so that you are both present at the same time, you can spend more time with each other. What if you are able to build that business that works for you rather than you working endlessly for it, and you create that time freedom? Envision having the opportunity to stay with your children and having the opportunity to be able to nurture them and not running and dashing out of the door, in a hurry every time, particularly when the kids need you the most. Think about it. When those children, when there's a need for them to go for that travel, maybe excursion, maybe sports that takes them out of your city, or maybe even out of their home, maybe some of those sporting activities that they have in the weekend, on the weekends. Like, think about the opportunity for you to be there for that child, sitting down and watch your child play, in that competition. I've been there for that child. Envision that, because if you do not envision the perks that comes from the time freedom, you probably may not have enough courage to be able to intentionally look out for what will give you the time freedom. So, time freedom is something that we all desire, but it's been established today that time freedom doesn't necessarily mean having those luxury or luxurious vacation. It doesn't mean absence of work. It just means that you have the opportunity, you have the flexibility, to be able to make a choice on when you work, who you work with, what time you work, where you work from, and how you can work around your own priorities. Having time freedom, it's an indication, that you are able to sleep and wake up with peace of mind, knowing that you don't have to rush out somewhere. Like, you're living your life on your terms. And this is one of the things that we experience every day within our business community, because this business opportunity that I bring to you, this digital business, is not only sustainable, but when built, it's able to it's able to create for you that time freedom that you desire. It's able to create for you that work-life balance, because the business is built around your lifestyle, and is built also for your long-term goal. So if today you you feel like, okay, I want to check this out, then you can just send me a message in the comment section, and I will get across to you and see how I can get you to watch our free info session, so that you can learn more about what this business is all about. Having said all of that, I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone that has joined me live, and those people that may be watching the replay of this broadcast. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day, and God bless you.